And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to the Valley of the Judged. I am your one and only gaming monk, better known as Mildra, and with me is my good brother here in the temple, the Omegamon himself, good brother Drum.
That's me.
So after our lengthy excursion into character creation and learning that multi-classing is mandatory in this system, as well as my brief aside going back to the whole rant about why I have issues with the Vancian model, we are back once again with the rules section proper. This is where some of the basic rules we've already covered, but this is where the whole shebang is going to be dealt with. I did kind of skip into this section a little bit last week when I had to explain the way spirit dice worked. Because that wasn't brought up when it came to the abilities that used it, even though there's a column noting that fact. Having the full rules in its own chapter is kind of a thing we see in Japanese tabletop. So it's just one of those you get what you pay for kind of things.
Oh, okay.
You know, for the same reason you see the pre-gen character creation and then the full scratch.
Right. For those who, for the several reasons to have a pre-made over building up from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
Time, effort, and a third thing I can't think of.
Yep.
Convenience. Yep. Hey, finally, Space Marine finished downloading. Awesome. Anyways.
One or two?
Second one. A friend basically gifted it to me.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
So
things been downloading for hours.
So first things first, when it comes to what we're covering. Now we kind of already went over this in the first episode, but first thing they go over is checks. checks are always d6 based. Usually, it's 2d6 plus modifiers versus the difficulty. Sometimes the dice might go up or down, but regardless, you can't go below 1d6 and you can't go higher than 5d6.
Okay.
Now, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was trying to find the right page to this thing.
Yep.
What the hell just happened? Oh, no.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But
what page is this on again?
151.
151. All right, cool. All right, cool.
And incidentally,
Never go higher than 5d6. Ooh.
Yep.
That's a full fireball.
Yep. This little mini comic, I kind of wish more games would do this.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, showing the basics on how the die roll works with one example.
Okay.
So it is a simple setup. You determine whether a check is necessary, decide the type, set the difficulty. The player makes the check. If they roll boxcars, it's a critical. If they roll snake eyes, it is a fumble. So there's your critical success and failure. Now, you can attempt to influence the roll, where if you do that, you set aside one of the die, and then you can swap it for a die kept in your spirit pool.
Oh.
Now,
are the spirit pool dice pre-rolled like Portent's dice, or you just roll it when you want to use it?
Spirit pools are only going to be relevant during like encounters and like. You roll them at the first at the top of the order, and every new turn you re-roll them. You do not. All that you're doing with influence is just swapping one of the 2d6 you rolled with one of the die from the spirit pool.
Okay, cool.
Straight swapping the result.
Okay.
So one becomes the other.
Gotcha.
And NPCs do not roll. If you absolutely need to roll for, say, an innocent, which are just the bog standard folks, treat it as if they have a modifier of 0, i.e., it's a straight 2d6 roll for them.
Right.
And we do have a guideline here for difficulty. The lowest even a child could do it is a 2. And it goes up by 2 with each step beyond that. Up to a point. Because even an expert would find it hard, it's 13. Superhumans could do it, is 14. Even superhumans would find it hard, is 15. And an act of God is 20.
All right.
Now the main stats we've gone over already: strength, agility, intellect, will, and luck, as well as the combat stats, which are accuracy, evasion, invocation, resist, and instinct. An opposed check, I don't think you need me to explain what an opposed check is.
No. We all know that if you're trying to do something to me, but if I'm doing something against that, whoever has the higher dice roll does their thing. For those listening and are unaware of.
Oh, yeah.
TLDR, who's got the better roll? Me or you?
Now, when it comes to crits and fumbles, it's not just 2 dice need to be 1s or 6s. All of them need to be that. So if you're rolling more than 2, that means it's going to be harder to fumble, but it's also going to be harder to crit.
Right.
And getting boxcars on a 2d6 is already slightly harder than it is to get a natural 20 on a d20 roll.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's two dice you gotta account for.
Mm-hmm. And are you familiar with a program called Any Dice?
I think maybe
It is,
any dice.
yeah, it is used to calculate probability of die rolls. A natural 20 is a 5% chance.
No, I've never seen this before.
A natural 12 on a 2d6 is 2.8 rounded up.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's not always often that you're going to get that crit. And you add another die to the matter, and it's even worse.
Yeah.
A natural 18 on a 3d6 is 0.46%. And if by some miracle you got 5d6 on the roll, a natural 30 is a 0.01%.
Be an actual act of God if that were to happen.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if you get 5 6s in a row, then maybe you should consider moving to Vegas.
That's what they tell me.
Mm-hmm. And also, hey there, Emov. Wrath and Glory is a good way to fix the 40k itch because you're spending more money towards Cubicle 7 and not towards Games Workshop. But there are also concepts like whole party checks, which is pretty self-explanatory. And all you need is for at least one person to attempt the check to succeed for the thing to succeed. And of course, penalties, being able to retry. The concept of rating, which will determine the difficulty or result of something. And with some actions, such as removing the poison condition, it's important to note how potent an effect is before making a check. The number representing an effect's potency is known as its rating, and is usually written as a number trailing after an effect. For example, poison 3. And the rating is kind of a shorthand for how difficult it would be to remove it or the like. So poison 3, that'd mean to remove that poison you'd need to get past 8.
Okay.
And then we have a couple examples, and then we get to maneuvers. These are not necessarily like special moves. We have the talents for that, but more like the skill actions you would see in a lot of games, because you have the stat required to check it, any time sync, and then the effects of it.
Oh, okay.
And each one's got a few of them. And the attributes can do a lot more heavy lifting because of the fact that there isn't the traditional skill system.
Mm-hmm.
So for strength, we have endure, swim, climb, and assess. Assess is described as examining wounds and damage to discern the weapon used, the wielder's skill, whether or not they employ magical or martial arts. Basically, sizing someone up.
Ah, gotcha.
Agility has track, unlock, sneak, and acrobatics. Self-explanatory there. Intellect has disguise, recall, appraise, and identify. appraising is self-explanatory. Identify is being able to see what the divine name of an enemy is.
Ooh.
Your version of scanning them.
Right.
Uh, Also, Amov in the chat says he tried minigaming with Infinity by Corvus Belly once. But you know what? I think I'm good. Yeah, I got my ass kicked that hard. Yeah. At my LGS, there's been a few times where 40k players get sick of Games Workshop bullshit and they decide to try out Infinity. They end up trying the same tactics that they would in Infinity and get tabled.
God, I was just telling my friends in the D&D group before coming here, I'd be more into Warhammer figurines if they weren't so fucking expensive.
Yeah, plastic crack has become kind of a meme.
Cause like they're cool. I'd love to have a couple armies for myself, but I just can't justify all that money spent.
There are
But anyways,
there are war games that are a little bit easier on the budget. Infinity is one of them, as well as BattleTech, and both of them don't care if you use unofficial minis.
yeah.
I was at a BattleTech event once, and I had to use a cigarette lighter as a substitute because one of the minis I had I lost in transportation. They're like, fine, whatever, as long as everybody agrees what it's supposed to be.
That's funny. I move my lighter and it's gonna shoot you.
Mm-hmm. Now it ended up being a omen because I tried a DFA maneuver with that mech and it got set on fire, and then and then exploded due to overheat.
Oh jeez. Oh, the Iron E.
Mm-hmm. But getting back to the matter, then we have will maneuvers, which are connect, negotiate, command, and charm. So your diplomancer stat is will.
Mm-hmm.
But I always like it when you can use the same stat setup for negotiating or aggressive negotiating.
Mm-hmm.
And luck is spot, sense, eavesdrop, and intuit. I appreciate that you need to be looking for hidden things when it comes to spot, because a fucking pox on anyone's house who does spot checks every 5 feet checking for traps.
Wait, what?
I've had to deal with some folk who were way too paranoid about traps and were constantly checking for traps every time they moved. Not just every time they did a full move action, but every time they moved 5 feet.
Jeez.
Or just abusing the spot check.
I'd say, like, all right, you get one check, but you get a radius of like fucking, I don't know, the closest feet. 10 feet in any direction, I guess.
I think 30 feet is fair if you're dealing with just sight.
I'll admit that was what I was thinking at first.
Within the text for Legend Edition, I do have something about that because I don't have a spot check. And there is a specific reason for that. Let me see if I can find the page for that.
Roll me a spot hidden check. Mm-hmm. My spot hidden is a 50, and I rolled a 67. I don't fucking see shit.
That sort of thing is why Kenneth Hitt invented the gumshoe system. Because he was frustrated that a failed roll when somebody's doing an investigation scene means even if they're an expert in that field, they somehow don't discover something.
Yeah, and like if that were the case, I'd see like, all right, you don't spot it immediately. You do some sleuthing. If it's like nothing too crazy, then I guess, but like it's all situational.
Yeah. This is why I'm a proponent.
It's all depending on the type.
This is why I'm a proponent of the school of thought called fail forward. The idea that a failed roll doesn't mean a narrative stop.
Right.
But the thing I wrote in my game regarding spot checks, because we do have one skill that's close to it called orienteering, which can be used for things like tracking and searching. Like, orienteering is not something to use to look for everything, everywhere, all the time. Generally, it is assumed that your passive situational awareness catches most things around you, and only things that are intentionally obscured or particularly difficult to determine would be the subject of one of orienteering's uses. Furthermore, orienteering is used to look for specific objects, and not to fully assess an entire area in one, i.e., I look for something unusual isn't enough for orienteering, but I'm looking for the Duchess's hidden crown jewels would be appropriate for orienteering.
Right.
Basically saying you can't just roll to look around. You got to be looking for something specific. And personally, if somebody said, well, I'm rolling to see if I find any traps, I'd be like, okay, what kind of traps are you looking for? You looking for wires? You looking for some specific kind of trigger? That sort of thing, because not all traps are created equal.
True.
But now the next thing we kind of covered last week, and that is spirit. Spirit is primarily what you're going to be spending when you are using talents, but it can be used for other things. It would be tempting to call Spirit the game's equivalent to MP, but it has more in common with, say, lands and Magic. Because of the fact that no matter how much you spend, you're going to be getting it back very easily. But since it re-rolls every round, you can't be conservative with it either.
Okay, I see. If you got it, use it.
And if you don't use it, you will lose it.
Yeah. Use it or lose it, pal.
Mm-hmm. Now, your spirit dice is equal to your character's essence. Mm-hmm. Starting PCs will have an essence of 4. So at the start of the session, everyone rolls 4d6, and that becomes your spirit pool.
Oh, okay.
When you use a talent, you temporarily spend one of these die as fuel for that talent. This is where the Magic the Gathering comparison comes in, because those are equivalent to tapped mana or tapped lands.
Okay. I rolled a 2, 3, 5, and 6 for my spirit dice.
Yep.
This round.
And that's going to determine what talents you can use.
Cool.
And at the start of the next round, in combat, you'd roll. Any exhausted dice, you re-roll. Now, some abilities will grant what is called overflow. Overflow is not represented by a die, but you just have it if you generate it. You can spend overflow in lieu of spending spirit die. Except for influence. You can't use overflow on influence.
Okay.
So the example that they give is that if a talent had a cost of 5, meaning 1 odds die and 1 die that's a 5, you could have 1 overflow used to cover one of the 2 die, and then pay the other one as normal.
Huh.
And this means overflow can be kind of a joker card, but if you don't use it, by the end of the round, you lose it.
Right. Hmm. Interesting. Interesting.
So those are kind of the ways that spirit can be used. Then we have innate power. Um, this was kind of touched on when we mentioned that there were two talents that every character is going to get at the start: spirit barrier and spirit burn.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
The barrier is what creates the combat zone.
Mhm.
Pocket dimension, as literally stated in its effect.
Yep. And if you would be quote unquote killed while in a barrier, you don't die, you just get ejected.
Oh, okay. If you die in the game, you won't die for real.
Uh, and spirit burn is where you can extinguish parts of the spirit crest to give yourself a boost in ability, but it's one of those things you have to be very careful with,
Mm-hmm.
since it is powered by your character's bonds.
Hmm.
And when you do this, you end up consuming crest. If you if you if you run out of crest,
Mm-hmm.
then, well, you can deal with consequences. Um, Best case scenario, you just die. Worst case scenario, you become an Aramitama.
Oh, all right. I see what's going on here.
Mm-hmm.
It's a finite power connected to your soul that sure you may use it to grant ability, but the more you use it, the more you lose. More you lose part of yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when your spirit crest is below 0, and
Mm-hmm.
you can technically spend as much as you'd want. You can go into the negatives if you'd want. However, at the end of a episode, you would roll on the price of consumption chart.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be a case of either turning into an Aramitama, um, completely dying, and either leaving no corpse or leaving a corpse, um, surviving, but you lose your powers completely.
Oh shit.
Surviving with your spirit crest, but you lose your memories, or manage to make a full recovery.
Ooh.
And that is a 1d6 roll. You roll a 1, you roll anything. You roll anything but a 5 or 6. Actually anything but a 6. You are on some level screwed.
Burn my soul! And I'm only partially dead. Cat, what are you eating? Hold on one second. What the fuck is that?
Now it says at least it's not Yu-Gi-Oh! Where losers have to play a penalty game. Yet.
Okay, we're good. It was just a piece of plastic.
Ah.
I thought it was like a fucking bug or something she was eating. Oh, glad I got that. Anyways, yeah, no, I am crippled, and now I'm an innocent once more.
Mm-hmm.
If you couldn't tell, I'm rolling dice in the background.
But you can recover crest. However, no matter what, the cap for crest is 22.
Okay.
Which is why the crest burn from spirit burn can be pretty nasty.
Yeah.
Like A bond that's at 1 through 3, you can add up to 3 die to a roll. Then after the check, roll the same number of dice you added and consume crest equal to the amount rolled. Bond 4 through 6, you can use at any time you are not downed, and then you consume 2d6 crest. This can be used once per battle. Or bond 7, roll 1d6, you gain rank equal to the number rolled, and then you consume 2d6 crest. And keep in mind, your cap is 22, so 2d6 can take up a lot. Even if it's only taking the average, which is going to be 7. That's still going to be quite a hit. So, in other words, don't just throw around Spirit Burn unless you absolutely need it.
Yeah. It's literally your, I'm about to die. May as well use my die move. And if I die anyway, well, hopefully I've made a difference in this fight.
Yeah. A friend of the show, Brother Tanner, had his own concept with this, with what he called raising the death flag that each of the classes in his game, Heavens and Heresies, had. Where you're able to be ridiculously OP for the remainder of an encounter, but after that encounter ends, you die. And if you make a new character, it can't be the same class as the one you picked before. So no dying and then conveniently having the exact same character.
Oh no, Boris died. Well, now here's his twin brother Goris, who's also conveniently a barbarian dwarf, who happened to be in the next room over. Hey guys, it's just like the how's that movie called? The beer movie where they the beer competition movie.
Beer Fest.
Hey guys, Beer Fest, right? Hey guys, I'm actually the guy who died's twin brother. You guys, maybe I could join you. And you could just call me him. It'd be like he never even left. You know, that kind of move. And even can't pull that shit.
Even better example. Have you ever seen Darkness Rising?
I think I've heard the name a couple times, but other than that, no.
The bard kept dying a lot, so he decided to make duplicates of his character. He made 50 of them. Most of them died.
What?
Like as soon as one died, he would prop another one would prop right back up. Not even missing a beat. He'd just pull out a new one, going, "I could do this all day."
That's funny.
How many did you make? 50.
Oh God, that'd be like some D&D 1E shit. I could see these people pull.
This was 3E.
Oh my God.
This is because they had a Staff of Resurrection they kept using on him, but every time you use that, he'd end up losing a level.
Oh, jeez. That's brutal.
So it's like, can I just introduce a new character because if I keep doing this, I'm going to be underleveled.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
Yeah, but but when it comes to recovering crest, there are a few ways to do that. If you participate in a battle, at the end of combat, you get crest back equal to each defeated Mononoke or boss is level divided by 5. On the other hand, you can use bonds. During the crest check phase at the end of an episode, you can recover crest from the number of bonds you've accumulated during play. Divide that by 2, then roll that many die to a maximum of 4 to determine the amount recovered. Okay. Or by spending a use of a Kushimitama, you can double the amount of crest recovered from your bonds, even if multiple uses are spent. But no matter how many times it's spent, you can at most double that amount. So you can get it back relatively easily. But at the same time, you can't it's not, you can't push it.
Right.
Since aside from getting it back during combat, uh, having good bonds is going to make things easier. Akushi Mitama is not going to come easy. So you have it as an option, but you cannot abuse it.
Okay.
But then we get to combat. And combat is on a square grid, but it has its own specific square grid. Which I actually like, because sometimes you either don't have the means or are too lazy to set up a full grid map. And based on how combat is going to be working, I don't think breaking out whatever square grid you might have for D&D might not be the best idea at first.
Yeah. Especially like sometimes it's like, man, I can't find a good enough map for this thing I want.
Mm-hmm. Especially since the size of squares is meant to be flexible. Depending on the situation, it could be 10 by 10, 100 by 100.
Oh, excuse me.
So for that reason, not having the typical grid map is actually a benefit. Regardless of size, only one character or obstacle can occupy a given square.
Right.
In that regard, I think it's best to look at it in the same way as the grid combat you would see in a tactics RPG. You know, whether it be Final Fantasy Tactics, whether it be Ogre Battle, Disgaea, Banner of the Maid, you get the idea.
Yeah.
And of course, we have the movable distance. You cannot move diagonally, which, given the small size of the grid that you're given, makes sense. It also means blocking is going to be very important. Since if you're able to move diagonally, blocking would not be as much of an issue. Like if there's terrain that blocks movement, you're gonna have to find a way around it. Of course, that door swings both ways. But the remaining parts of it are pretty self-explanatory. And when it comes to actions, some of these are, you have 14 different potential actions, and when it comes to how many you can do each round,
oh wow,
you certainly have options on that front, but it is more about timing. And I guess the best way to put it is that you have one potential action for each of the timing phases, which we'll get to in a moment.
Oh, okay.
And it depends on how many timings you end up gaining.
Oh. So each combat, you could have different amounts of timing each round?
Possibly.
Okay.
So the types of timing are start, which basically start of the round. Prep, which is right after it. That's where people are making their pre-attack preparations. Attack, self-explanatory. The things you can do in that are full move / withdraw, equip item, use item, weapon attack, coup de grace, gather spirit, or complex action. Now, with some of these, with some of the actions, you are spending either one of your timing or all of them.
Oh, okay.
but you gain one. But you're going to have one of each. You're going to have at the start of combat, you'll have one start timing. Or rather, at the start of each round, you'll have one start timing. You'll also gain one for prep and attack. The remaining timings is a case of if you haven't used the former. Actually, I have to correct myself. It is situational. Like when an attack action is made, you gain a defense timing. And of course, you have timings like end, constant, and free. So because of that, there isn't a case of one move action and then one main and bonus. You have a bigger pool of more spread out pool of actions to choose from, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
Which, by extension, means that you always have some degree of option to act. You always have something you can do instead of just sitting back and taking it.
Oh, okay.
And you don't have an action that's nebulous. Looking at you, bonus action, because I don't mind the idea of bonus action. I just think there's way too many things that count as it, and you only get one bonus action each round.
I don't know. I feel like maybe it's just the amount of the few people I actually play with. It's like, I don't know. I feel like there's not a whole lot of bonus actions to throw around.
It really depends on build. But
yeah.
I do think from a design perspective, it gets relied on a bit too much. Especially with subclasses. But the other reason the whole timing thing is important is that in addition to spirit, that is going to determine when you can use certain talents.
Ah, okay. To keep you from being able to just be like doing it whenever you gosh darn feel like.
Mm-hmm. Or whenever you've got spirit to spend.
Right.
Which you are and fortunately when it comes to that, you can't spend ridiculous amounts of spirit to just do a bunch of stuff at once, because well, you only for the most part, you're only going to have a few dice. And if those dice aren't rolled properly for what talents you've got, you're not using it. Unless you've got a lot of overflow, which it's rare that you're going to have a bunch of stacks of overflow.
Yeah.
Especially since, well, you can't hoard it. But then we have things like range. And given that one of the ranges is combat zone, that makes using its grid instead of a D&D grid make even more sense. Because using that in a standard dungeon, using combat zone in a standard dungeon map would be ridiculously OP. But then we do have a baseline when it comes to attacks that have no range. If it's melee attack, then the range is engaged, i.e., if you're in engagement range. Ranged attack is engaged to 7 squares, and magical attack engaged to 5 squares. And of course, we have a similar thing to range with target types. User, AoE, selective, i.e. a number of targets within range, item, when the target is an equipped weapon, for example. Zone, self-explanatory, and other. And movement is used with your speed stat, of course. That's going to determine how many squares you can move when taking a move action. A simple move doesn't spend a timing and lets you move 1 square. Whereas a combat move, does take a timing, but you can move more than a simple. You're moving initiative plus 5 divided by 3. But if you take a combat move, you can't take ranged or magical attacks. A full move, on the other hand, is initiative plus 5 in terms of how many squares you can move. And until the start of your next turn, if you take a full move, you reduce your rolls by 1 die. And you can't take attacks.
Oh.
You can't make attacks, I should say. So again, blocking, it seems to be very important when it comes to the game.
Right, because you really gotta be conservative of what you can actually do.
Mm-hmm.
You actually have to think about your movement strategies.
Mm-hmm. And when it comes to attacks, obviously attacks are going to be either a melee, a ranged, or a magical attack.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're just performing weapon attack, that's just a basic. Or you can do weapon attacks through talent. And when it comes to engagement, that's kind of a zone of control setup to determine when people are fighting up close.
There's no vertical movement. Is that right?
There's no
or like a vertical square movement.
No.
Cool.
Everything is boots on ground.
Okay.
Obviously, there's some talents that allow for a flight effect, but that's not that's not vertical movement in the sense you're thinking.
Yeah. I'm moving like I would move my units in Fire Emblem.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Now, of course, when attacking, the target will get a reactive check, which is how they're going to defend against your attack. This means that any attack is always going to be a contested roll.
Right.
And the check that you use depends on what type of attack you're getting hit with. If it's physical, evasion. If it's magical, resist. If it's special attacks, instinct.
Okay.
It'll usually clarify what type is going to be used.
Right.
And if you, while defending, get a crit, you can turn one of your spirit die into any number you want.
Oh. Neat.
And you take 0 damage.
Ooh. I like not taking damage.
Mm-hmm. You can do the same thing if you roll a crit with an attack action. But if you fumble, one of your highest spirit die has to become a 1. So there's always a risk when you're getting into combat.
Right.
Now, when it comes to damage, damage is based on the damage rate,
Mhm.
which damage rate represents the die variation when you're making attack actions. Ranks can go between 0 and 10, but never beyond those. So when you're determining damage from rate, you would pick the highest die from the attack roll and use that.
Okay.
And then compare it to the damage rate chart. So let's say you're doing an attack rate of 4, and you pick. What was the last d6 you rolled?
A 2.
All right, a 2. So that means that would do 8 damage.
Oh. Interesting.
Now, if you rolled a crit, then damage is going to be in the tens. Is basically the rate times 10.
Ooh. Holy moly! All right.
Yep. Of course, you can reduce through damage reduction, but as you can see from the damage rate chart, it balloons up pretty fast. Though this also means calculating damage is going to be pretty easy, because you're just reusing one of the die you use for the attack roll.
Okay.
Now, you can reduce that damage through guard or ward. Guard reduces physical damage, ward reduces magical damage. And anything that's left over goes straight to HP. And of course, there are elements to take into account, as well as different conditions. Each condition has a set of parameters for nullifying that condition and how long it takes for it to end after combat. For example, staggered, nullifying it during your turn, you can spend 1 prep timing. Otherwise, use a talent with an effect that nullifies being staggered.
Okay.
So you don't need to have specific items to get rid of debuffs. There's always some way to do it. It's just that depending on condition, it might be trickier to do.
Right.
Now, in the same vein, there are a few positive conditions. Though, and this is where we get flying.
Okay.
A flying character is floating or else moving through the air. Such a character may ignore all engagement attempts from any character that isn't flying or doesn't have a flight movement type. In other words, the flying character doesn't enter any engagements unless they want to be in one, or their enemy can fly. In addition, flying characters ignore penalties from bad footing and gain +1 to their active checks. They can be nullified if you're hit with a charge X square attack. So flying in this is more akin to flying in Magic, where you are really hard to defend against unless the enemy has flying as well.
Flying or reach, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
And in the same vein, I think we have a better use of hidden than I've seen in some games. If you're hidden, you can't be targeted by selective attacks, but at least physical ones, but magical ones can still hit you.
Ah, gotcha.
And you're also primed for the first attack timing you spend. It's nullified if you spend either a prep or attack timing to take any action other than pass, or you deal damage to another character. Otherwise, during your turn, a character wanting to find a hidden character spends a prep timing to make an opposed check using instinct and passes.
Hmm.
Note that if a talent or item grants the hidden status, unless otherwise specified, it counts as having a result of 20. Which, good luck beating 20 on a 2d6 roll.
Yeah.
And primed just means +2 to first active check and +5 damage. But after you attack while being primed, you lose primed. I look at it as the equivalent of both sneak attack and flanking, since you're attacking someone unaware with it.
Oh, yeah.
But the thing is, with each of the conditions on both ends, there's always some kind of counter. Like we mentioned earlier with flying, a lot of people would look at that and think, well, flying's completely busted.
Mhm.
It's not that hard to find charge X square effects. You're essentially, if someone tries to bull rush you, you are going to be knocked out of flying. Well, assuming that they hit you. They don't have to do damage, they just have to hit you.
Right.
But after that, it goes into running a session, which is a lot of stuff that is going to be standard fare.
Yeah.
I do like the appearance check, which is a luck check that you can use to have some control over how you appear in a scene if you appear late. But it is built on a scene approach, which makes sense. A lot of Japanese tabletop do that.
Right.
And honestly, it's not far removed from how I run my games personally.
Mhm.
I will often structure individual sessions, like I'm structuring the format for a TV episode. Not have a full script, mind you, but have a set of scenes and a set of acts that acts as a guideline for me.
Mhm.
But after that, you at the end of the session, that is where you can recover HP. It always goes back to full unless you're dead. You do erase all bonds except for your first one. The bonds that you erase turn into memories, which allow you to get experience. And you're going to be getting experience in gold, of course, with a few guidelines for both. And
You like gold.
Yep. Then it goes into anomalies, which, well, are exactly what it sounds like. And anomalies are kind of the first phase that eventually leads to things like an Aramitama fight.
Mhm.
Which of course is the goal. If you're playing Kamigakari and fighting monsters like that isn't part of your goal, what the hell are you doing here?
Yeah.
But the first phase of resolving an anomaly is, well, sensing it. An anomaly will have two difficulties. And passing them will determine how much of that anomaly's stats that you know. the other one determines how many people need to make the check.
Okay.
If you succeed, you get to learn what the anomaly is. And this is a luck check. If you fail, you take the anomaly's special damage and penalty. So don't fuck up. If you succeed, you can choose to either breach it or dispel it. The breach describes as to breach an anomaly is to destroy it, and in so doing, be exposed to its power. Breaching as a course of action relies on the raw power of an awakened to forcibly dismantle an anomaly. Imagine an anomaly represented in the form of a pillar of flame being blown away by a powerful spell, or being split lengthwise by a mighty swing of a blade. That is what it means to breach. Breaching an anomaly succeeds just by the PCs saying that's what they're doing. Once they do that, first, all appearing PCs regain 5 crest. Then the PCs also gain the anomaly's positive fallout, and take the anomaly's special damage and penalty, and the anomaly's invoker gains the anomaly's negative fallout. After that, the anomaly dissipates. Now, to dispel an anomaly is using spells, martial techniques, or regalia to nullify it. It doesn't require raw strength, but instead just removes the source using rites, rituals, and the like.
Okay.
Dispelling requires that a number of PCs determined by the anomaly's requirement stat succeed at a check using the main stat specified by the anomaly. If the check to dispel is successful, the only effect is that all appearing PCs gain the positive fallout, while the invoker gets nothing. However, if all PCs fail, or if there are not enough, then everyone fails altogether. Should that happen, then each anomaly specifies a target who will take the anomaly's special damage and penalty, and the invoker will gain the anomaly's negative fallout. So when dealing with anomalies, you have 2 choices: mash it or remove it.
Yeah, no. Sounds pretty simple.
Which does fit because, well, on some level you are a combat exorcist. And performing exorcism is not just smashing it.
Right.
As demonstrated in something like, say, Mononoke, where you need all of the relevant info before you can exercise it. You can use items to help boost the effect, but since you are using consumables, you got to be careful.
Right.
But past that, we have character advancement, which is on a level-based approach. And it looks like, yep, the cap is 20.
Alright, look at that.
Mm-hmm. But each time you advance on just one level, you gain a few effects.
Ooh.
You can increase 2 main stats by 1 point.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot increase 1 stat by 2, so you can't. So this isn't that kind of ASI. Mostly because you're doing it every level instead of every 5 levels.
Every level, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it's actually every 4 levels.
Every 4 levels or get a feat, and if I'm being honest, the whole feat as an alternative to ASI was a masterclass in missing the point.
Yeah.
It's
okay. Pretty much most defeats in 5.5 edition give a 1 point in featured, or a 1 point bonus as well as the feat.
Yeah, which I'm not sure if that's enough.
But I'm a cool DM. I let you get 2 points and a feat.
I think the problem that I end up having is just the limited amount of slots for feats. The
Yeah.
I'm fully aware that third edition had way too many feats and way too many feat taxes. I'm not disputing that.
Mhm.
But that pendulum swings both ways. The intent
Yeah.
of feats was to provide a means of character personalization beyond just race and class, and maybe spells.
Right.
Restricting it that much does, and you end up restricting that personalization as well, and because of that, the class has to do extra work. This is why we have a lot of feats in all but name, like say evocations for warlock,
Mhm.
or fight, or some of the fighting style stuff for, well, fighter, except for the fact that at high levels the fighting style is almost superfluous.
Mhm.
But in addition to that, um, you also get the possibility of getting an ancestry or a facet talent if you're qualified to take it. You don't already have it, and if it's one you can take multiple times, well, then you can take it an additional time.
Right.
As we mentioned last week, every 5 levels you can get a high talent in addition to a ancestry talent you don't already have.
Oh, okay.
You can also change one non-key talent that you possess for another talent you could acquire under the same conditions.
Hmm.
So there's your respec option, which is always nice. It means people don't worry about whether or not a choice they make now is going to screw them over 3 sessions down the road.
Yeah, no, that's pretty nice.
Then we have other rules like HP recovery, as well as the coup de grace option, which is self-explanatory. If you
Right.
want to do rules for suffocation, we have that. We have that as well, and the rules for obstacles. When attacking an obstacle, the GM sets its HP and guard. All obstacles have ward 0, and when an obstacle is reduced to 0 HP or less, it's destroyed.
Hmm.
Now and we do have a few examples for HP and guard for obstacles.
Mhm.
And because of how quickly we saw damage go up, it's easy to wreck some of these. It also means you don't run into that situation of not being able to do enough damage to a door, so you can't do the that happened more often than I would like to admit, of somebody wanting to do the dramatic kick the door down, but they didn't do enough damage for the rules, so the door stays there, even if it's a wooden
Oh
door and somebody's
no.
got like I had a barbarian once who had several strength enhancing magic items, including a giant's belt. He had a strength score
Uh-huh.
of 25, but because he didn't do enough
Ooh.
weapon damage, he wasn't able to break the door open.
At that point, just implement the rule of cool unless you're a stickler.
Oh,
It's like, all right, you
I
know what, you're
wasn't
strong
GMing.
enough. Yeah, no, I'm not saying you, but I mean, like, in that situation, it's like, DM, just, just be cool. Allow the rule of cool. Let it happen. Especially with a 25 on a 25 strength on a medium-sized creature, and I can't kick in this clearly wooden door for a cool dramatic effect. The fuck, man.
Yeah,
Supposed to have fun playing pretend.
yeah. If somebody was gonna do a running drop kick to kick a door open, I wouldn't even have them roll for it. Or
Yeah,
rather,
exactly.
I'd have them roll and treat the door as an improvised ranged weapon.
Yeah. And if you do decide to still make them roll, even if they flop it, just lower the DC or make it funny. I don't know. Make it fun. Don't be a bitch.
Yeah. And yeah, wood doesn't compress easy, and it's hard to kick a proper door down. However, again, rule of cool, and
And a 25 strength, that is like that is well beyond superhuman strength.
Mhm.
It's like, come on. Unless it's a pure metal door, like in a prison cell, or it's like a safe door or something, then sure. But
no,
like a wooden door, come on.
now granted different types of wood have different types of resilience,
Yeah, but as
but
far as D&D is concerned, wood is wood.
but
Unless it's like a special door. But anyways.
but this was this was it was essentially cedar wood. Cedar is one
Okay.
of it's higher up on the list, but it is one of the softer woods you can find.
Right.
It's not like ash, which is what they used to use for baseball bats back in Babe Ruth's day, and those bats were actually heavier than the normal ones. Uh, but outside of that, and I know we skimmed quite a bit, but that more or less covers uh, this particular chapter.
Okay.
But based on what you've seen with this, what do you think of the way Kamigakari works mechanically?
I like it. It's definitely very different from what I'm used to currently. But I do see it definitely gives you more freedom to have your anime moments that I know a lot of people like to have.
Mhm.
I being one of them. Uh, yeah, no, this does well in the area that it wants to be, and that is definitely the shonen battle anime TTRPG rule set. Because D&D could never, quite honestly.
Yeah, I know stuff like the Warlock audio drama tries to, and fair play to those guys. I've talked with the devs for that. They're good people.
Said
But
Warlock audio drama.
yeah, it is a D&D audio drama that is it is not an actual play. I want to make that clear.
Oh, okay, okay.
It is it is essentially an audio drama taking D&D and putting a shonen battle manga spin on it.
Hmm.
Including having an in-universe use for things like challenge rating and levels.
Okay.
Uh, but the we talked about this last week, but the
Uh-huh.
problem when it comes to trying to do characters in any sort of anime is that a lot of them would end up being gishes, and gishes have their own asterisks in play, especially with the whole Vancian model of spellcasting. And to that end, I have a hard time seeing any character in any shonen battle manga over the years using that whole spells per day thing,
Mm-hmm.
or even just key points. Can you see even original Dragon Ball Goku using that sort of key point setup?
Right. Yeah. Nah.
Uh,
Definitely. Definitely not.
yeah, and that's just OG Dragon Ball. We're not talking Z yet, where that would
Oh.
collapse like a house of cards.
Oh god. Yeah.
And same thing. That's not to say you couldn't do shonen manga with a class system. I mean, this game does it, but you're not picking one class and that's it.
Oh yeah.
Your character's kit is born out of a combination of different pillars. You know, can you double down on the same class? Yeah, but you're going to be very good at that one thing that that class does, and kind of struggle everywhere else.
This is true.
I'd say the one thing that people might take a little getting used to is the idea of timing. I think a lot of people are used to the idea of
Oh
it's your
yeah.
turn, you take a move action, then you take a main action and a side action. In this case, it's more about timing and phases.
Yeah, you actually like you have seven. You go down the phases like you would in a game of Magic. Aside from more D&D, you can do all the things you can at pretty much whatever order you want.
Mm-hmm.
So this definitely has a more organized structure to it. We'll say
Yeah,
to make it actually feel like a proper RPG, I guess.
this is also why I made the comparison between this and and a tactics RPG.
Yeah.
You certainly have that vibe of positioning is very important.
Mm-hmm.
You have ways to recover. You have options, but you have to be careful on how far you're going to push it.
Right.
That's one of the big takeaways I get from this. I do remember in one of the previous episodes, Zalmute had said that this was Rocket Tag the game when it came to its combat.
Oh jeez.
And now the combat zone is pretty is it's not a small one. It is. Let me do a screenshot for you.
Sure.
It is at the back of the book, but I don't feel like going all the way that far. So I'm gonna put that in the side chat for you.
Okay.
Oh.
Where am I?
Mm-hmm.
Where am I? Oh.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Just a big old, literally just a gridded sheet.
Mm-hmm. A gridded sheet so you can put in obstacles and the like on the fly. I feel like that's the big reason that this was made, so somebody could print off this page in particular and have
Use-
the encounter set up without needing too many minis and the like.
Use whatever bullshit they have at their disposal to act as in-game obstacles.
Mm-hmm. You know, have it that a wall is represented by a Q-tip or something.
Yeah.
Though something else to note when it comes to the whole obstacle thing is it looks like an easy way to deal with obstacles, magic.
Yeah.
Because obstacles have a ward of 0. And as you saw in the in the whole damage chart,
Mm-hmm.
you're already using your highest die for generating damage, so damage can add up very quickly, even if you're using like a rank 1 effect.
Oh yeah.
And just to put things into perspective, let's see what a now for start. We already mentioned the whole initiative penalty and defense bonuses with weapons, which I'm perfectly fine with. But
Oh,
But what I'm going back and trying to find what the let's see what the base damage of one of the sample PCs would be. Like, let's go with the
gotcha.
modern wizard. So, Grand Invocation deals rank 4 magic damage.
Oh shit.
Now, Grand Invocation is the modern wizard's strongest spell. But let me see if I can. But that would mean if you crit on that, that's 40 damage.
Oh,
So rank 4 damage goes from
that's a lot of damage.
8 to 24. If you crit, it's 40. Obviously, that can be reduced by ward or by damage reduction effects, but that's still quite a bit. On the other hand, the cost for Grand Invocation is 3 dice, 2 6s, and an even. And because of the fact that you're re-rolling dice that you spent, that actually means that you're almost encouraged to spend spirits so that you have the chance of getting the type that you want, as well as influence if need be.
Right.
Like, you might use influence just to force a 6 to be in your spirit die pool. At the same thing. Healing also works on that same rank setup. Like, for example, the modern wizard has curative spell, which costs steps in dice, so you need 2 die that are in sequence. They recover rank 1 HP, which for that would mean that the target could recover 2 through 6 HP. And to put things in even further context, the modern wizard has 38 HP. In fact, unless somebody's doing an outright combat build, the high 30s is what a lot of the characters are going to be.
Oh, okay.
Some of them are a little bit higher, and then there's guys like the Rhyme Devil who have 52, mostly because of the fact that he's covered in armor. But at that same token,
Mhm.
the modern wizard approach we saw earlier has a guard and ward of 1. But and I had to correct myself on one thing. I kept thinking PD was some kind of defense for some reason. I don't know why I thought that. I think it's because I played a lot of 13th Age, so the brain rot was real in that sense.
Ah, gotcha.
But it is. But stuff like PD and MD is mainly determining the rank of damage that they're doing with, say, an attack. Unless some talents will have the rank set up, obviously.
Right.
But the point is that there are a lot of options, and with those options, there's a lot of stuff that you can potentially do,
Yeah.
which I certainly enjoy. Uh,
Definitely gives a lot more room to be creative
mhm.
in this game.
Yeah, it's. I think if somebody wants to do what if I just want to play a fighter? You're gonna have a trickier time here because of the fact that you are not playing a murder hobo. For one. Uh, but outside, like I said, the only the only real potential issue I could see when it comes to the core mechanics is getting used to the whole timing thing.
Yeah.
And if I'm having somebody run this for the first time, I'd probably do some sort of cheat sheet regarding timing. I'd have. I don't think I have that in my archives exactly.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem like anything too difficult to really make up on the scratch.
Mhm. Especially since there's not that many phases. And
Yeah.
phase-based design is something that you see in war games and you see in games like Rollmaster or its successor Against the Dark Master quite a bit.
Right.
Uh, which I may cover Rollmaster one day, but I'm not doing it as a valley because I don't feel like reading through pages and pages of critical hit tables. Rollmaster may have pioneered that concept, but being the first doesn't always mean being the best.
Yeah.
Uh,
Excuse me.
and actually, I do have to correct myself. There is a there is a bit of a cheat sheet that somebody made for the different phases regarding turn order, so it is a little bit easier. So there were some attempts to do some fan translation stuff before we got the official one, and some of the stuff that happened with that, but that's a whole other story. Plus, the damage rate thing that I mentioned is I believe on the sheet. Uh, so you do have that going for you.
Right.
Now, granted, it's a bit further on, but you do have it, so it's an easy reference. And
Yeah.
the full interactive character sheet that I have does have it kind of set up so that you can list off what talents you're getting at each level up to 20th, including spots set aside for things like high talents.
Yeah, that's pretty
So
handy.
that sort of bookkeeping isn't going to be too difficult.
Yeah.
But with that said, that will do it for this particular episode of the Valley of the Judged. Next week,
Alrighty.
the 3-in-1 rule will be applying. We'll be taking a brief break from Kamigakari to look at Dusk City Outlaws. Which,
Cool.
if you've played the old Thief games or just seen a heist movie, you're already halfway there to what Dusk City Outlaws is trying to do.
Oh, cool.
Especially if you've seen, say, Ocean's 11.
No, but I have seen Now You See Me.
Mhm.
That's kind of like a magician heist
Yeah.
movie, I think.
Or if you've seen any episode of Lupin?
No, but I know I know what it's about. Though I've never watched, but I understand the premise of what you're getting at.
Yeah. Because, and truth be told, I know that D&D tried the heist thing with Waterdeep. It didn't fully succeed because I don't think you can do that kind of heist in D&D's rule set.
Definitely. God, it's been so long since I've run Waterdeep, and that was like my first ever attempt at DMing. So I probably could. I say you'd have to do a lot of heavy RPing, like heavy role playing.
Yeah.
But I think it could work out.
In theory, it can work out. It's just with the amount of heavy lifting you're going to be doing, you're putting twice as much effort into lifting that barbell than you would have had to otherwise.
Yeah. I'd say like if you want that to be the thing, you'd have to like let your players know like, hey, this is going to be a heavy heist role play. Prepare for that and just like go with the mindset that you're a team that's going to essentially be going on a heist. And, go through the motions.
Yeah, that is why I've often cited Ocean's 11 as study material. Because you've got the phase of getting the team together, you've got the phase of casing the joint, you've got the phase of setting up the plan, trying to do the plan, and improvising when the plan goes wrong.
I think okay. I only have one instance other than Waterdeep. Legends of Evantris. They did a like 3-episode campaign where they actually did a heist mini campaign within those few episodes, and despite the usual goofs and gaffes, I feel like they did it pretty well. But then again, that's also a group of individuals who like are really good at role playing.
Like I'm not going to say it's impossible to do. There's just a lot of asterisks.
Yeah.
And I would be more willing to push someone in the direction of a game that's tailor built for it. Which Neon City, Dust City Outlaws, and its upcoming Cyberpunk spinoff, Neon City Outlaws, is built with that is the main thing you're going to be doing, and it's not interested in doing anything else.
Right.
So, with that said, we will see you next week, and until then, my name is Mildra. I am your gaming monk. Stay fucking frosty, everybody.
Oh, it's so cold.
Thank you.